Welcome back, everybody, to the E2A Flippers podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about tips for competing against Amazon. So, you're flipping from eBay to Amazon, you come across a product and Amazon's on the listing. Should you sell that product? That's the question. And you're probably wondering, Steve, do you ever buy items on eBay to sell on Amazon where Amazon is on the listing, where they're competing against you? And to answer the question, yes, I do. But there are certain rules that I follow, and there's certain scenarios and times and situations where I won't. And I want to explain that. I have about 5 different things I want to cover in today's episode. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So number 1, if Amazon's on the listing and they're competing against me, the first thing that I want to know is, what are their history of being on this listing? Are they coming on and off? Were they on it for like 6 months and now they haven't been on it and they just jumped on recently? Are they always on it? I want to know what their history is, okay? Because this is going to play, a major part of my decision of determining, do I want to buy this or not? Because if I think, hey, they're going to be gone, maybe, and you could take a look to see how much they have in stock. If there's only 5 in stock and this thing's selling 50 times a month, they're going to be gone. And if it looks like they only come on once every couple of months, then I'm not really going to be super concerned. If I see them on the listing all the time, or they came back on the listing with a freaking million in stock, then what I'm going to want to do is move on to tip number 2, which is taking a look at the Keepa buy box rotation. So if you go into Keepa for that specific product, go under data buy box for your particular condition, you can take a look at the buy box rotation to see over a 30, 60, 90, 1 year period, what percentage the buy box is rotating amongst the various sellers. So if I take a look and I see Amazon's getting it 40% over the last 30 days, and then like everyone else is getting like 10, 15, 12, like that's amazing. It's rotating pretty equally. But if I see Amazon and they're taking it 100% of the time and there's no other sellers, or they're getting it 99% of the time and all the other sellers are FBM and there's no FBA, like it's a little bit of a warning. Like, why aren't FBA sellers on this? Is it a dangerous goods? Are they not allowing it to go FBA? That's a question I ask myself, which doesn't necessarily have anything really to do with competing against Amazon. But if I do see Amazon on it and no one else is on it, somewhat of a red flag. If they're winning it 99% of the time, what I'd want to do is take a look at how much quantity that this product is selling per month. So I can use SellerAmp, or I can take a look at Keepa. I could see the green drops, and I could see, oh, okay, this is selling like 80, 100 times a month, or even if it's like 20 times, even if they're taking it 99% of the time, you just might have to win the buy box, once or twice to sell that product. So if you only have 1 unit in stock, then it's fine if they're winning at like 95, 97, 98%, 99%, as long as it's not 100%. But again, you have to ask yourself, how long do you think this thing is going to sit for, right? And this comes with experience and practice and tracking your results over time when you jump on listings with Amazon. As long as they're sharing it a little bit and the product is selling enough and there's a bit of buy box rotation, and especially if there's a history of other sellers winning the buy box, and you can look for that check mark to know if it's FBA versus FBM. That definitely gives me a lot more confidence. All right, so the next thing that I like to take a look at is, what are the other competitors winning the buy box for? Now, what I mean is what's the price that they're winning it for? If Amazon is on the listing for $100 and you look at the buy box statistics and you see that everybody else is at like 86, 89, 90, 92, 91, that means that sellers are having to significantly discount their product to win the buy box. So you want to be aware of that when you're running your numbers and you're saying to yourself, all right, I'm going to compete with Amazon. The buy box is 100. You might not be able to sell it for 100. Typically, you only have to undercut Amazon like 1% or 2% to win the buy box. Other times you don't, but I usually account for like 2-3% discount to undercut them to help myself win the buy box. But what are other competitors winning the buy box for? You can check this under the buy box statistics. The next thing I'm going to look at is, does Amazon's price swing a lot or a little? So when Amazon's on the listing, I'm looking at the Keepa chart over, 30, 90, 180 day, 1 year. Like, I'm looking, if Amazon's been in stock the whole time, what are they moving the price towards? Like, are they going, sometimes Amazon's on the listing and they're friendly. Like, they just kind of keep the price like at a similar price. It's 100, 101, 99. Like, if someone undercuts them to 85, they'll just let it go. Sometimes with Amazon's on the listing, they'll chase you down to 60, up to 140. Like, they're swinging all over the place. It's like a freaking penny stock going up and down. So if I'm going to compete with Amazon, I want to look at Keepa and I want to understand, are they playing nice? Are they savages? Are they aggressive? Are they just chill? Like, what type of Amazon are we hanging out with and competing with? So that's another thing to take a look at. If it's swinging around a lot, that's more risk. So I'm going to want to make sure that I'm buying right and I have enough margin to make up for it if I have to let this thing go or if there's some type of price war that goes on. So that's another thing that I'm looking at. And last but not least, if Amazon's on the listing and I'm competing against them, after I look at the history of them coming on and off, the buy box rotation, what other competitors are winning the buy box for, is the Amazon price swinging around a lot? If there's an IP alert coming up or it looks like there's any big drop-offs and Amazon's on it, I'm definitely not going to mess with it. But really, at the end of the day, is it worth the risk versus reward? You have to look at what your potential profit is. You have to take a look at what percentage of the buy box they're sharing. How long do you think it's going to take to sell? And you have to ask yourself, like, do I want to compete? Like, do you have 10 quantity? Do you have 1 quantity? Like in my business model with eBay to Amazon, a lot of times I just have 1 or 2. So I don't mind competing with Amazon. But if I had, if I was doing traditional online arbitrage and I had 30, 40, 50 items, that's a different story. I don't have a ton of experience doing that. So I'm not going to speak on like large quantities because I just don't do that in my business. But if I did, then I would probably be a bit more paranoid versus if you just have 1 item or so. So there you go. Hopefully this helps when you're buying items from eBay to flip on Amazon and you're trying to compete with Amazon and you're trying to figure out, like, should I? Ask yourselves these questions, Go ahead, save this podcast, watch it again, and don't be scared to compete against Amazon. Just take into consideration these risks and ask yourself, is the reward worth it? So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, do me a big favor if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, leave a positive feedback if you can. We're really trying to get this out to more and more people. And if you're on YouTube, give a thumbs up, like it, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate you guys. And if you're looking to learn more about flipping items from eBay to Amazon, I encourage you to check out my eBay to Amazon Masterclass. We have over 100 videos in there. We have hours and hours of content. It's up to date. We just have a really great community over there, and it's just a really fun place to learn and grow together. And everything I've done to grow my business from 10K a month to 20 to 30 to 50 to 100, I put into that program. So you can check that out at rakeandprofit.com/E2A Masterclass. And if you do join, feel free to let me know, leave a comment. Appreciate you guys. And I just want to say thanks for watching and go make that money. Take care. Bye.